All right, hello, welcome to another lesson on inheritance. Before we get into the new stuff, if you want to go over the warm-up questions here, talking about, they usually ask something like number one on the AP test about, is this correct way to do Java code? Yeah, so pause the video, give that a shot, uh, and try number two also, and then unpause. Okay, so your answers here are that you can do like a parent class here or a super class. So you can do superclass and like the object name equals new subclass, right? That's okay because this subclass is a type of the superclass, but you can't go the other way. You can't have a subclass on the left and a superclass on the right. Okay, and obviously you can do the standard way is like to have them match, like freshman F equals new freshman, right? That's usually the way that you do it, but you can do a superclass and then a subclass on the right. Okay, so let's go through and look at these ones. So a freshman, believe it or not, is a type of human. So it is a subclass of human. So this one would be okay. So we can circle that one for okay. So human and student. So student again is a subclass of human. So that one would be okay. And then this is the one where it's I think reversed because human is not a specific type of student. It's the other way around, right? Human is the parent class. So that needs to be on the left. So that one's wrong. And then student is a superclass and freshman is a subclass, so that one's okay. So all of them are okay except letter C. Okay, and so all this stuff flows down again. So I know the arrows are kind of backwards, but anything in human flows down to student, and then anything that's in student flows down to freshman. Okay, but you can have a situation where like student has an is cool method, and then freshman also has an is cool. Okay, so like if I do student S1 and then I make them a new freshman object and I call is cool, the question is like which is cool is going to run. Okay, and so the answer to that is it is a freshman object type. So it's going to run, even though they both have a method, it's going to run the more specific one. And so freshman overwrites is cool. So since S1 is a freshman object, it'll run the is cool in freshman. So it's going to be running the is cool method right there, right? Which obviously would return false because there are no cool freshmen. I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's it for our warm-up question. The activity for today is we are going to start something that we do a bunch in this chapter, which is an inheritance situation involving like a quiz or quiz or a test where there's different types of questions. Okay, so these are going to be some of the classes that we're going to make. There's like a fill in the blank question, a multiple choice question, a free response question, a numeric question, and then a class called question. Okay, so my first thing for you here is on a piece of paper, and this is a piece of paper you're going to want to keep and reference throughout these next few lessons, is if you want to draw these classes into a hierarchy. So like what would be parent classes and subclasses or superclasses and subclasses. So which would be like parents, which one would be children. So pause the video and try and sketch out a plan and then on pause to check your answer. So in class, I usually have kids write it on the front side, their own idea, and then we flip it over and do the actual answer on the other side. And there'd be more than one way to set this up, but I'm going to have you try it first on your own and then on pause. All right, so the way we're going to set it up and the way this is set up in the book, there's like a corresponding reading that I'll have you do that'll kind of help with this too because it's just taken out of the book. So the way they set it up is question is the parent of all of these. So basically all of these are subclasses. They're specific types of questions like a fill-in, multiple choice, numeric, and free response. All right, so today we're going to start to program the question class, and then we'll do some of the other ones in subsequent lessons or whatever. But what I want to do first is figure out like what would be common to all of these, right? So the fill in the blank, multiple choice, numeric, free response, anything that is common, like any variables or methods, right? Any data or methods that we're going to have in all of these, we should put it up in question so that the code can be shared by all of these subclasses. So Now I would pause the video and see if you can sketch out any data and then methods that might be associated with a question. And think of like a test question, like you're taking a in-class test question or something. What would be some of the data and methods? Okay, so please try it, and then if you haven't already tried it, do that before seeing the answer. So I'd say a question, there's two big things we're going to have. We're going to have a string that represents the answer to the question. All right, and then we're going to have a string that's going to represent like the text, right? Like the actual like text might be like, who is the first president of states of USA, right? So we're going to have those two variables for sure. Okay, and then we could have like get and set methods for these too, like to get the answer and set the answer. Those would probably make sense. So I might not include them here because hopefully they're kind of intuitive. But some other ones that might not make much sense or might not be intuitive, I guess, is we could do a void method called like display question, like displays the text basically. So it'd be pretty simple. It would just like system out print the text. So it'd have a display one, and then we could have a Boolean one that checks an answer. Okay, so if we were going to make like a functioning quiz, sorry, I didn't quite get that to fit. One moment, please. Okay, so if we're going to make like a functioning quiz, then we would have them like a user enter an answer, and we would want to check it against the answer that's stored in question. So, I mean, I could call this maybe correct answer would make more sense or something, so that when they're doing the quiz, they'll have an answer, they'll put an answer, and then you can call a check answer method that'll check the input coming string against the string that's already stored in question and return true or false if that is correct or not. Okay, and I should have had this in the hierarchy here too, even though it's not really part of it. We're going to have another class called quiz, right? Which is essentially going to be, if you want to make a note here, that's going to be our runner class with the main. Okay, and so it's really not part of this hierarchy, to be honest. Like it's not a specific type of question or anything like that. All we're going to have is our quiz will be made up of a bunch of question objects, right? So I might even make like an array list in here that that has all the different questions. Okay, but that's going to be our runner. All right, and so it'll be made up of a bunch of questions. All right, and one of the hardest things about this is getting the interaction between like all these different classes, and especially because there's multiple ways you could set this up. So just as a note, like the check answer, I could have this be void and just system out print you got it right or you got it wrong, right? We could have check answer do that, or we could return true or false and then have the quiz program say if it returned true, then say good job, you got it right, and if it's false, return hey, you got it incorrect. And honestly, you can kind of choose how to set it up. In some ways it might be helpful to match how I do it in the video or how they do it in the book, but know that there is options. And as long as you have like a functioning quiz at the end, right, that's our big picture goal, is just to have a functioning quiz with these different types of questions. You can kind of set it up any way that you want. Okay, so hopefully that's a sketch. And obviously these classes will start to overwrite it. Like you could try to think about numeric question. Like, one of the things that might be different there is that it's going to have like a double or an int as an answer. Okay, so we're going to have a different correct answer down here, right? That is, instead of being a string, it's going to be an int or a double. Okay, so these would have like some special features, right? And I don't want to focus too much on those classes yet because we're just doing question right now. But eventually these will have like special features in addition to what is being inherited from the parent class. So anyways, let's get question programming. That's our main thing. So I'm going to go into my Eclipse here. All right, and I'm going to make actually I already did make a new package. So go File, New Package. Okay, and you can call it like quiz program or whatever. I called mine questions 3 because I've done this a bunch of times, but quiz program would make sense too. Okay, and once you've got that, we're going to make a new class representing question. So just make one called question. It doesn't need a main or anything, right? Because this one's going to be an object type, right? Our main is going to be over here in quiz. So this is just representing one question on a test. Okay. And so let's start to do some of the stuff we talked about. And again, I would probably pause here and try to do some of the programming yourself. Even if it's a mess and it's all wrong, you can come back and check with this video. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to try it. So I'm going to do my instance variables first. And we said there is main 2.1, so I'm going to do private string correct answer, private string text, like question text. You can just call it text or whatever you want. Okay, and I would do the constructor next. And I really think it makes sense to take in this information, to pass it in. So when I do my constructor, I'm going to do public, and then the name of the class. And then I'm going to take in like the answer coming in and the text coming in. Okay, so I'm going to take two strings in. And again, remember the only point of a constructor is to set these variables. Okay, so I'm going to set my correct answer variable to the answer coming in. And then I'm going to set my question text to the text coming in. All right, and I think I'm going to stop here and I'll do the methods in a separate video. All right, just because I don't want to run out of time. So hopefully you got the setup, and again, you can start to try the methods and all that stuff before continuing on. That's it. Thanks for watching.